so much for clicking on this video. Hope you're having an awesome day. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to hang out with me. Today's video, I am super excited because we are doing a palette royale video. This is where I compare and contrast two similar palettes to each other. And with spring around the corner, I guess every brand is trying to capitalize on pastel palettes. I have today the Milani Gilded Pastel palette versus the Morphe 35I palette. My Battle of the Palettes playlist will be linked to watch some other palette showdowns. If you haven't already, please subscribe and give this video a like. Let's jump into it. Starting with the Milani Gilded Pastel palette, let's open her up. You get 15 shades and it retails for $19.99. And then the Morphe 35I Fantasy palette, you get this annoying plastic with the names on it, as well as 35 shades, and it retails for $25. Based off the price point and how many colors you get, automatically I'm more drawn to the Morphe one. You get more shades at a better price, and I've had better luck with Morphe palettes than Milani palettes. I reviewed the Gilded Noir and Rouge Noir Milani palettes. Did not have the best luck, but I was really drawn to this palette as well as the gold palette that Milani has recently put out. Felt like this was a great opportunity to give Milani a chance and to do a palette showdown. Originally, I was on the fence about getting this one. I more or less anti-hauled it because I don't know how pastels are going to show up on my skin tone. So I'm very nervous about that. I don't know. I like to wear pastels, but I don't know about on the eyes. As much as I like colorful makeup, it's just something that I don't know if I would buy this just to have it in my collection. I don't think I would get much practical use out of it except for doing a video like this. We're gonna swatch both palettes and get an idea of how the shades look swatched, how each shade feels. Are there any red flags off the bat? Two things that I like this Milani palette over the Morphe one just by looking at it. One, it has a mirror. That is not a deal breaker for me. It's more convenient for travel, and also the names are printed underneath the pans, which I like. It's easier to refer because this in the Morphe packaging is just going to get tossed out. Ghosted, Deep Like, Split the Bill, Cuffing Season, Can't Be Tamed. Meet Cute, Third Date, Peacocking, Don't Be Jelly, Concrete Runway. Super Bloom, Happy Hour, Swipe Right, It Factor, Disco Chick. And this is the Gilded Pastel palette swatched. So there is pigment throughout each shade. The mattes actually felt really chalky to the touch, so I wasn't sure how each one of them was going to swatch, and they all swatched beautifully. The shimmers felt really nice and creamy, and I'm a little concerned that these mattes are going to have a lot of kickback to them. Based off the swatches, everything looks really pretty and promising, so we shall see how everything blends on the eyes, hoping for good blendability and pigment payoff. When you wipe away the swatches, you really can't tell on the makeup wipe. Now, the 35I palette, I'm going to swatch them from top to bottom. That way I can get 5 shades at a time. My camera cut out on me when I was swatching the second row. Hopefully it caught everything, but this is the first 2 rows swatched. And this is the 3rd and 4th row swatched. And this is the last 3 rows swatched. I don't really have concerns based off how it feels. The mattes and shimmers felt creamy. Every shade had pigment all the way through. I think that some of these shades are just a little bit lighter because they are pastels, so it's hard to see each swatch make it through. Even this pressed glitter swatched really nice. It definitely feels more together than very loose for a glitter formula, but I think that this palette gives you a little bit more to work with because there are more shades. Based off the swatches, you know, I'm a little concerned of having these shades build up because they are quite light. I really haven't worked with pastel colors before, and I'm not sure if they are a trickier formula to create. I only have my eyebrows filled in right now with my Wander Beauty eyebrow pencil set with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel, and I'm going to prime with my Urban Decay Potion Primer. So my left eye is going to be Milani and my right eye is going to be Morphe. And this is what the palettes look like side by side. There are some similar shades to each other. I think I'm going to use 4 shades from each palette. I think from Milani, I am going to take Happy Hour, Peacocking, It Factor, and Cuffing Season. So this is what I'm taking for Milani. And then for Morphe, I'm gonna take this shade, this shade, this shade, and this shade. These are the similar colors we are going to be working with. I have 2 Luxie 229 taper blending brushes. I'm going to use one for Morphe and I'm going to use one for Milani. So starting with Morphe, I'm going to take this shade right here. There is some kickback and this is going to go all over my first third, crease and lid. It is super light, so I'm hoping that this can build up. I'm gonna grab a more flatter brush to see if I can build it on the lid some. And for reference, I have more medium skin tone and I have a neutral undertone, but I'm naturally pretty flushed if you can't tell. So I don't like that shade. It's super light. It's hard to see on my skin tone. Let's dip into Milani. This one looks even lighter. Oh, that almost looks white on me. It's going on, but then once I start blending, it fades away. I have another flat brush. Let's try it. Nope, it's crumbling and fading away too. At least the Morphe one is somewhat showing up on me. It's just super light. Time to clean off that shade. I mean, it's barely there, so why clean it off? And now we're gonna go into this shade. Has some kickback as well. Oh, this one's doing the same thing as Milani. Put it on and it fades away. It's trying to build up. Maybe the flat brush will help it. Kind of like how it helped the peachier shade. I definitely have to go back in with the peach shade a little bit. I'll bring these two together. So it looks a little bit nicer. We're gonna take Peacocking from Milani. It's doing the same thing as the peach shade and blending away. I'm gonna take the Packing shade brush. That seemed to help a bit. I'm gonna try Happy Hour to build it up again. I chose out this shade from Morphe to put it on the remainder third. And this one is a shimmer shade. I am really bad at dividing my eyes evenly for these 3-tone looks. I ultimately wanted to pick this shade, but this one is closer to the Milani one. And now let's get Miss Milani on. That one's popping a lot more. Going to use the Morphe liquid eyeliner and the Urban Decay 24/7 eyeliner. Maybe a gothic pastel look would be fun. So I really like how the black eyeliner added to this look. Probably just me. I live for black eyeliner. We are going to smoke out the lower lash line now. I'm gonna take this shade from Morphe. You know, it's showing up better than I thought it would. That's one of the more pigmented pastel shades in this palette. And now this one is a shimmer from Milani. The Milani one's pretty pigmented too. I'm gonna do my face makeup, add some mascara and a lip, and then I'll go over my thoughts on both palettes. I honestly wasn't sure what kind of lip would have went well with a pastel look, but all the products I used to complete the look are in my project pan. I'll link that video in case if you missed it. Overall, I am not sure which palette I like more. They both have pros and cons to it. Going into this, I thought I was going to say Morphe because I have so many other shades to work with and I like that. But the Milani palette actually did surprise me with a couple of the shades. I think that Peacocking and Cuffing Season performed a little bit better, but I think I could have chosen more brighter shades in the Morphe one. Maybe I could have chose this shimmer and this matte instead, but I wanted to choose like the closest shades possible in the respective palettes. And of course I only used 4 shades, so it's hard to gauge on this Morphe palette, whereas that's almost a third of the Milani palette. That's why I want to say Morphe, because there's just so much more that it can offer. There's so many other shades, so many other looks I think I could create with it. Both of these palettes are very cool tone, but I like how it gives you the option into going smoky, and that kind of excites me, of a pastel smoky eye, and as I mentioned, a gothic pastel look. Like, something about the black eyeliner just amplified this look. If you want some more bang out of your buck, I think this Morphe one is going to work out. I was very worried about this shade right here, but what I noticed is if you're trying to blend them with a typical crease brush, you're going to run into some issues of it fading away in a sense, but I really needed to pack it on with a shading brush. I'm not really sure what other looks I would create, because with that in mind, it's just not going to turn out pretty. It's just going to be a faded mess, and I really love my crease brushes. But then again, it could just be my skin tone. I do have more of a medium complexion, so I feel like maybe some of the pastels just might not work out for me. There's just a lot of different factors. I'm very conflicted how I feel, because I really want to love both palettes. I just don't know if I would reach for these. I'm thinking of exploring more with this Morphe palette. As I mentioned, originally I wasn't going to pick it up, but perhaps doing a 3 looks 1 palette video would be worthwhile to get my thoughts. I've already used 4 out of 35 shades, so I feel like if I tried 3 other looks, I think I would get a more gauge on the palette. I don't really see the average consumer just picking up a palette like this. I don't think it's needed in their collection. I think more YouTubers, makeup enthusiasts, and collectors, influencers are going to buy or receive this in PR just because it is a makeup launch and it's something to review. It's just something that I don't really find practical or really needed in anyone's collection. I think if I wanted to really create a pastel look, I think that's something where the ColourPop monochromatic palettes could come in handy. I know they just had Meant to Be, Baby Got Peach, and Lilac You a Lot. Those are more on the pastel side. And then each other palette that they have, like Orange You Glad and Blue Moon, I think they have at least 1 pastel shade in each one, so you can kind of create your own palette than buying something like this if you already own those. But I think this palette just offers you just all the pastels right here without having to dip into multiple palettes. As I mentioned, I would probably choose the Morphe one over it, but I don't want to discredit the Milani one. It performed really good. It exceeded my expectations. My expectations were pretty low going into it from my previous history with Milani palettes, but I think this one did a really good job despite the shade Happy Hour. That was like the only shade that gave me issues, that barely showed up and really faded away. But Peacocking, Cuffing Season, and Don't Be Jelly, I really liked how they showed up. Did you guys pick up either one of these palettes, and what were your thoughts on them? And let me know if you would like to see a 3 looks 1 palette video using this one. I think after doing that, I'll have a little bit more of a grasp on this palette and how it all performs to give you more of a detailed review instead of just saying, yeah, it's pretty good for 4 shades. But if you're on the fence about either one, maybe go with this one. But of course, it could also be preference at your point if you like Milani instead of Morphe, or vice versa. I would love to know what you guys feel about the pastel trend that's trying to happen. Do you guys like it, not like it? Are you over it? I think I have all the pastels I need, and if any other brand releases another pastel palette, I will just look over it. Don't forget, my February giveaway is currently open right now. If you have already subscribed and entered in that giveaway, don't forget to comment on this video for an additional entry. And if if you haven't entered the giveaway yet, subscribe, and there will be a link in the description box for that video for all the other rules on how to enter. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and if you don't, I appreciate your view anyways, and I'll see you in the next video.